Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we are conducting a very scientific experiment. Let's go. So I'm sure you've seen those, you've heard about them. It's especially at this time of the year, every single gardening channel is talking about setting up their grow station to start early their seeds, and we're all using those fancy grow mats. Well, this year I thought I'm gonna try. My issue is I don't really want to sacrifice a space indoor for the mats, simply because I don't really have much space for it. And I've got a wife that's not going to be too happy if I put a mini greenhouse inside the house. So my next solution was set them up in the greenhouse, see how they get on. So I've rigged up the electricity in here, and I thought, why not? I'm gonna try them. I got a pack of four for just under £40. Those ones are just straight plug. There's no thermostat or anything like that, so they're not the fancy one. Again, I really wanted to try it. If it works, those ones will be back up, and I will be getting some with a thermostat just to keep a bit more control over the temperature. Those ones basically heat up to their maximum temperature constantly. The thing is, when I got them, I plugged one in inside, sitting on the table. I took a reading, just one that's unheated and one that had been plugged in for about 15-20 minutes. And the difference in temperature was roughly 10 degrees. I thought that's not bad. But if it's 10 degrees extra inside, and then I'm bringing this in the greenhouse, it's a very, very different thing when you go from 18-20 degrees, or 15 to 20 degrees indoor, to -3 or even lower. So my question was, do they actually work? Why are people not plugging them in a greenhouse? Or you see every so often someone doing it in a polytunnel, but do they actually work? Are they actually beneficial? So I thought, I'm gonna plug them in and I see what they do. I really, really want to have a successful year this year with my tomatoes, but mostly with my peppers. And that's why I've given up on the chilies this year, and that's why I've given up on the really big bell pepper. The season is too short. The heat is just not there enough. The light is just not there enough in this part of the world. My problem is the heat. I can't start my seeds early enough. So I thought, let's try. So it's a very basic experiment. I stole this thermometer, this meat thermometer from the kitchen. I've got the mat. I've got one plugged in and one unplugged. I've got, remember my leeks? So they're made in those, well, I don't have any more, but they're made in those A5 size trays. Just for the comparison, I've got one sitting on the heated one, and you can see it there in the background, and one sitting on the unheated one. And both of them have the lid sit on top, just to keep the temperature inside. I've got on the other mat here, which again is unheated, I've got a thermometer just to give myself, the reading on the same level. So I've done, and I'm not going to spoil it, I'm not going to give you any numbers yet, but I've done the test yesterday, straight on the shelf. So this is obviously a metal shelf in here, and the mats were sitting on it, and I couldn't feel a difference in heat. When I put the probe in the soil, I've seen a really big difference at that point. I was quite happy with that, but then I kept thinking, what else could I do to improve this? And the way to improve this is insulation. And I've got a bag full of this byproduct of wool. really stink, by the way. So this is just leftover wool. It's used, I believe it's used for packaging instead of using plastic and so on. This is used as well. It's insulated. Yeah, so that's the thing I've got. And I already used that on some of the shells just to protect a bit, you know, when those mesh shells, just to protect a bit the cold coming from underneath. It seemed to be working fine. I've never really done any reading, no difference or anything like that, but it seemed to be working. So I thought, I'm going to shove that on and we'll see what it's like. I've done a reading last night, round about 11 o'clock at night, and the difference was huge. Absolutely huge. So that's where we are just now. And the very important question that we will answer with these is tomato sowing time? Yeah or nay? Let's find out. First reading of the day, it's 8 a.m. So currently the temperature is -3. So let's test the unheated. Okay, so we've got 0.1. The heated one, I can already feel the heat coming off the mat actually. Poke this in the middle. So 23.8. Right, so our ATM reading air temperature -3. The heated 23.8 and the unheated 0.1. So we've got -1.3 degrees still. Let's check the unheated. Right, so turn this on. So we've got 0.7. And then for the heated one, we get a pretty stable reading now at 21. Well, we'll say 21.3. It's going up again now. So for our second reading, we have -1.3 for air temperature, 21.5 for the heated one, and 0.8 for the unheated one. It is 12:30. It's time for our next reading. So 2.8 degrees Celsius air temperature just now. Let's check the unheated. Okay, so 0.8, which is the same as it was reading at 10 o'clock this morning, actually. And let's now check the heated one, which again feels really warm. Okay, so 23.5. Let's say it's just going a tiny bit up, but yeah, 23.5 degrees. Right, so third reading of the day. We had sorry, got this one wrong, 2.8 degrees. And the heated one was 23.5 degrees and still 0.8. So it is looking good. Next reading, we have 2.9 degrees air temperature. So not a huge difference, as we've been doing since this morning. We'll start with the unheated. Right, so we've got 2.3 degrees in this one. Still feels really warm. Even the soil on surface is actually warm, like spring warm, if you know what I mean. Right, so 28.5 degrees. 2 p.m. reading 2.9 degrees, so not much of a difference from 12 o'clock. The heated one was 28.5 degrees. It's absolutely amazing. And then 2.3. It's really difficult to try to write behind the camera, but right. So 2.3 degrees. Let's come back at 4 p.m. And we are back with our 4 p.m. reading. So I suppose we could call it 0 degrees at this point, 0.1 exactly. So definitely very cold now. Right, so 3.3 degrees. The heated one actually radiates a bit of heat just now. 28.9. 29. So our 4 p.m. reading is air temperature 0. Oh, actually froze up here. Do you see that? Create a wee recess, it froze on there. 0.1 degree. Heated was 29 and unheated was 3.3. It shows you that the lids alone are creating a bit of a microclimate, I suppose, in a sense, or keeping some of the heat and release it back when it's needed. So it's definitely, if it's showing you something, it's definitely showing you that it's important to have a propagator lid on. Back at 6 o'clock. It is now 6 p.m. We have minus 1.8 degrees. I hope it's gonna be okay. I've got the torch on the camera because it's now properly dark. 2.3 and 26 point. Oh, it's still going up. 26.8. Right, so for our 6 p.m. reading, we have air temperature minus 1.8. I'm actually going to have to get the pen in as well. The heated was 26.8 and the unheated is 2.3. It's cold now, properly cold. So minus 2.9. It's 8 p.m. Let's check the unheated. Okay, 0.9. Definitely getting cold. Okay, so 22.1 just now. Air temperature minus 2.9. The heated was 22.1 and unheated was 0.9. Last but not least, minus 3.4. It's getting really, really cold now. Like really sharp. So first thing that I'm noticing here, it's actually starting to freeze just on the surface here. Okay, so still 0.9. So 21.8 minus 3.6 for the air temperature. 21.8 for the heated soil, and still 0.9 for the unheated soil. Okay folks, review time. I think it's fair to say that the results are very promising. Lowest temperature recorded, and I'm just gonna focus really on the heated soil, the one on the heated mat, because that's what I'm interested in, and that's why you're watching this video for. The lowest temperature that I've recorded is 21.5 degrees. The highest temperature is 29 degrees. As it is, 29 degrees could worry me slightly, but I need to stress that the tray were put straight away on the heat mat. So it's not gonna happen in real life like that. I will have a gravel tray just simply for the watering, which is a thicker plastic, which inevitably will steal some of that heat away from the soil directly. So I'm thinking that maybe I will have, I don't know, 0.5 to 1 degrees less than my reading. So potentially, let's say a degree less, so about 20.5 degrees minimum to 28 degrees maximum. I'm looking for something between 20 and 29 degrees to germinate those tomatoes and those peppers. Obviously, there's other seeds that can be done. It's the only two that I'm doing because that's what I'm doing, but you could do chilies, obviously. You could also do aubergine, for example. Well, there's plenty of other seeds that will be benefiting from this. I will be using that as well for the watermelon and the melon. But just now what I'm looking for is, can I sow my tomatoes? I suppose the simple answer is yes. If I go a bit more in detail, the answer is not quite. Not quite. So what am I doing with this? Well, next week I will be sowing the pepper in the greenhouse with the insulation underneath. And I insist on the insulation because this alone makes a difference of about 10 degrees. So I had an average temperature of 24.6 degrees soil temperature. Keep in mind, if it wasn't for that heat mat, I would be at roughly 14 degrees soil temperature, which is still slightly too low at that point. You know, we're still a few degrees away from that window. Please don't think that what I'm telling you here is just go ahead and sow everything, put a mat, you know, plug it in, and that's you ready to go, and you'll be able to grow perfect tomatoes now. But I'm fairly confident that with the setup that I've got there, with the wool on the top shelf, with a propagator lid on top, it seemed to be acceptable. I wouldn't normally sow my seeds in the greenhouse unheated round about early to mid-April, but obviously I'll be able to start mid-January. I'm gaining 3 months, give or take, on the growing season, so that's fab. So why am I not doing the tomatoes next week? The seeds that I've picked this year are faster grower, are some of them actually. One of them is Patio One, which grows fantastic in Scotland, outdoor as well, which is one that I will not even do until April for the sowing, because this one will be grown and pretty much straight away shoved outside. But the other ones are have a shorter growing season, so they don't need to be, sown now. They will still be sown, let's say early February. Yeah, if I manage to wait that long, I don't know if I will. To be fair, I'll be very honest. I'm likely to be in the greenhouse in an hour, sowing everything. But on paper, I'm not planning to do the sweet pepper until next week, and the tomatoes until maybe 2 or 3 weeks from now. That will still be 2.5 months earlier than I would normally do. So I'm going for faster grower, so shorter grower season, or faster grower, or faster growers anyway. And I'm giving myself 2.5 months for the tomatoes, 3 months for the pepper. What could go wrong? Which means that we will be growing sweet pepper next week. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Obviously, I've got things started, obviously, with the leeks and the onions and the sweet pepper, the sweet peas. But yeah, I'm really excited. It's just that it seemed to be like everyone's super excited to grow their tomatoes, because I think tell me in comments if I'm wrong, or if it's another reason for yourself. But I feel like for myself, really the reason is it's winter, it's dull, and we know that those tomatoes will be like the heart of summer. That big bite. No one heats their tomatoes like that. I don't know. Anyway, it's gonna be for the heart of summer. It's like this juicy taste of summer in the middle of winter, when you're just desperate to see something happening. It's just so good. So I'll see you. I might have another video coming in between, but otherwise I will definitely have a video next week coming up on seed sowing. If I last that long, I will have some seed sowing next week. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the content today. Let me know in the comment what you think of this video, if you liked it, if it helps you make a decision on how to grow, if potentially will, just like me, help you growing things a bit earlier without having to sacrifice a piece of your house or your apartment to start growing. So let me know. I would love to know what you have thought of this video and what you're planning to do with it. Mostly, or if you have done it yourself before and would like to share your personal experience, I would love to take that into account, and I'm sure other people watching this video would love to see what you have to say and see how it works for you. That's it. That's a wrap. So super excited. Next week we're growing stuff. Oh, that's so good. Thank you very much for watching. As always, it's been a pleasure to put this video out for you guys. As always, it's nice to see the likes, the views. It's great. I really appreciate the support. What I would really appreciate is a like on this video if you liked it, and if you're not a subscriber yet, please do so. I will really enjoy having you coming back, watching my videos, interacting with you. I've got a couple of people that comment on a regular basis, which I really appreciate, having like new friends. So anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, your evening, your night, whatever time it is. Enjoy, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.